Okay, so we are live now.
Okay.
It's coming up now. I'm just waiting for the notification. And here we go. Man, I am very excited today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to our special episode of Off the Record with Student Minister Hugh Muhammad, who is a long-serving helper and servant and companion of the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhans, and just a good person to myself and my family and many people that are all over the world, in fact, because he's a traveler as well. Brother Minister, we want to get straight into it. When did you accept the teachings, sir?
Wow. I first heard the minister in 1982 when I was at college. I registered in 85, but from 82 to 85, I traveled and went to many meetings with the minister. My first Savior there was 85. So, Brother Dennis, actually, one of the other regions, was the first person I heard teach Islam in 1982 at Fredonia State University.
Yes, sir. And why did you accept the teachings?
Brother, I was looking for someone, to be honest. I'm born in Jamaica, and so I have a history of a level of consciousness, I would say. And I was one of those that my cousin was murdered for leading a freedom fight in Jamaica in 1865, Paul Bogle, who was one of Jamaican heroes. And so I came up under the great Robert Nesta Marley's music, the Humble Marks Messiah Garvey, and just the Indian thing. So I always wanted to go back home and liberate Jamaica, because Fidel Castro was one of my heroes. And I didn't like just as I saw in South Africa. So if it wasn't for Minister Farrakhans in the short, I'd probably be dead because I'd have done something stupid.
Yes, sir.
And going back to Jamaica thinking I could be the next Fidel Castro or something like that. So I might have been dead. So I came because of the Black consciousness. I stayed because I found the knowledge of God.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And when you came in, where did you come in?
I was in Buffalo, New York, upstate New York, which my college is about an hour outside of Buffalo. So it was in Buffalo, New York, was where I first registered in Buffalo.
Excellent. And what was the career trajectory? Where did your career take you? Was it into the ministry? Was it to security? Was it like, what happened once you came in?
I'm gonna tell you, I came in, I just one of those dudes that I just like working, I like helping, I like serving. So when I first came in the mosque in 85, I was, of course, a squad leader. I became a lieutenant, the first officer. Then I became an assistant minister, and I was the assistant minister and the first officer at the same time in the probably from 87 to 91. And in 1991, I became the captain when your father became the supreme captain. Brother Abdul Sharif became the supreme captain. Brother Dennis became the regional captain in New York, and I became the local captain in Buffalo. And of course, a few years after that, I became a regional captain. And after that, I became a student minister. I'm the student minister in San Diego currently. Now, I've been in San Diego, believe it or not, for 20 years now, Brother Joshua.
Definitely didn't know that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Okay, so let's go back to when you became a captain in New York. What was the climate like during the time that you were a captain in New York? Was it very intense? Was it help us understand the climate of New York when you became the captain?
It was very intense because I mean, at that point, we just came out of the Jesse Jackson campaign in the mid 80s and the whole controversy and the lies by the Jewish community, some members of the Jewish community, and also, just activity in the Black community. At that time, though, a lot was going on. I mean, the minister was crisscrossing America. I think that was probably the start of Stop the Killing. Just the start of Stop. Yeah, I think that might have been around 91, 92 at the start of the Stop the Killing tour. that we were doing that led up to the Million Man March in '95. So ironically, I think the Stop the Killing tour actually started here in San Diego, was the first place that did the Stop the Killing tour that led to him calling for 1 million Black men to come to San Diego. So it was a very booming time. We were very active. The minister was going throughout America. I mean, he was in every city. I mean, we found ourselves traveling on a regular basis on the college campuses. There was a lot going on, so there was a lot of activity, and Black people were very interested. The enemy was working. That was around the same time that we had the Malcolm X movie came out, where they tried to hurt the nation. So it was very busy. You know, the time of great progress, when I became a captain in '91, that really started what we probably call some of the glory years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, well, 1 second, my minister. I want to, yes, ma'am, to the civil. Thank you for returning the greetings. Brother Craig, alaikum salam. Naima, alaikum salam. Brother Deshaun, alaikum salam. Sister Veronica, and Brother Khalid, and Brother Michael as well. Alaikum salam, sir, to you all as well. Okay, but minister, with this climate, how did you first meet the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Wow, that you know, Brother Dennis being who he was in the nation. The first time I actually met the minister was in 1986. Now, the very first time I met Minister Farrakhan, I believe he came to Buffalo in 1986. I remember him driving, and I remember us meeting him. I was a lieutenant at that time because Brother Dennis was still a captain in Buffalo in 86, 87. And I never forget, it taught me a big lesson by the minister. He's probably the most disciplined and structured man he's the most disciplined and structured man I've ever met. And it's, you know, so he just was there. He came with very approachable.
Yes, sir.
You know, back then I had a cell phone, and I was probably a little bit arrogant trying to show off my cell phone, stuff like that. You know, that's what them cell phones was about this size. You know, you care about your shoulder connect, you know. And the minister commented on the cell phone. That was the very first time I met him, 1986.
Okay, wonderful, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. What made you, how did you get into, what made you want to hold post with the Most Honorable Louis Farrakhan?
Well, you know, I think I came up in an environment of work. You know, we had some men, you know, from the examples that we had before us, our now Supreme Captain, Brother Mustafa, the former Supreme Captain, Brother Abdul Sharif, Brother Dennis, Brother Keel. These were men that I grew up watching, in particularly Brother Supreme Captain Mustafa, your brother Regional Student Minister Abdul Sharif was the Supreme Captain, Brother Dennis, and Brother Keel. You know, those were men that I grew up watching them work, and I was always running to assist them. You know, I was always looking to work with them, and eventually I became like their go-to person. You know, so from 1987, 88 till almost 2000, God blessed me to help to be an intricate part of securing almost every major venue that the messenger spoke in. The only one that I did not do was the Coliseum, and I think that was in 90, but just about every Savior's Day, every major venue, I was blessed to be an intricate part of actually working as a regional captain or as a captain or the lieutenant in securing that venue, doing everything we could do. I worked on the principle, I'm gonna dot all my I's, cross all my T's. We go undercover every garbage can, look at every new construction, look under every seat, you know, overturn everything and check everybody thoroughly. And once we've done all, we leave the rest of it to Allah and the angels. And Allah blessed me with that for many years.
All praises to Allah. So what was your main function as far as security was concerned?
I think in the early days, I mean, and it's still wherever the messenger is, I just feel obligated that my eyes, I'm a soldier, and I don't want nothing to happen to him at any time. But I know I'm willing, and hopefully Allah will bless me with the continued mindset that I will sacrifice my life for his life. In security, is just knowing that this man represents our people. And I've seen many other leaders. And so it's a man that I'm looking at, said, man, that's the man that have not backed down. And you grow when you got good examples in front of you that's committed to a man like that. And so my strength and my faith grew. And the more I knew of who the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is, the more I knew of the knowledge of God and come to see who Minister Farrakhan is, it made it easier for me to be willing to give my life and travel any place he was in America. Talk about today, they used to saying that we used to have back in the 80s and the 90s, that wherever the minister was within 500 miles, we go. In Buffalo, our motto was wherever he was within 1,000 miles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we didn't have the 500-mile block. We had 1,000 miles. So that made us many places that most people didn't go. And we became known back then, even under the then Supreme Captain back in the 80s, we became known as the Buffalo Soldiers. So people started looking for us to show up where the messenger of God was.
Yes, sir. Now, out of those Buffalo Soldiers, do you still work with many of them, or how did that go? Did they all go? Are they still in Buffalo, or did they go other places?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. And I was wondering where they were.
No, they're in Phoenix. Brother Dennis is one of the original Buffalo Soldiers. So he's still around. Brother Dennis was my first captain, probably the first minister I heard other than Minister Farrakhan, because he was the minister in the city of Buffalo from 82 to 85, and then in 86 or 87, he became the captain in Buffalo and I became his first officer. And Abdul Halim, who's now in Phoenix, Arizona, Donald then was the minister. We actually went to college together. And then Brother Eric is still in. So a lot of the brothers, many of them are still around. Some of them are still in Buffalo, but others have went on and are in other cities as well. And I keep in contact with some of them.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. Brother Aaron, who from the E-team as well, says, give Brother Hugh the greetings from us at the Cures. Yes, sir. I also want to let everyone know that this podcast is brought to you by ABC I Love Me, my sister's book. Thank you, Mimi, for putting up the money so we keep paying and get these podcasts going every month. Brother Minister, what was your function during the Million Man March?
Whoa, that was a heck of a piece, brother. I was actually responsible for the supervision of building the stage and building the bulletproof, or the it really wasn't bulletproof. It's 1-inch plexiglass we were using. We learned to use something better later on. But I was in Los Angeles at that time in '95 at the Million Man March. I was the regional captain, and my responsibility with some of the brothers from Los Angeles was to build the bullet resistant shield for the minister that was in front of him. And we stayed up all night doing that. I was on the mall all night until when Sheikh Tijani was calling the event. I was there at that point, and we were there all night, Brother Bashir, and some of the other brothers from Los Angeles, but also other brothers that came and supported. I'm trying to think that Aaron also, you mentioned, might have been one, or Brother Ron from Chicago was also a part that was out there, because I've helped in constructing, I think, 2 or 3 of these shields over the years with the minister. So I'm responsible first for developing that. At one point, we were given the furthest part back in the mall. So, and of course, it was packed, and at one point they needed some more help. So Brother Dennis had came back there and got some of the men from the West Coast with Brother Captain David, the then student Captain David, and we came all the way up to the front to help with that. So I was mainly responsible for the building of the shield, of the bulletproof shield, or the bullet resistant shield that was built.
Excellent. Are there any things that the minister has told you over the years that has kept you going so strong since 1985? What are some of the things the minister has shared with you that helps you stay strong?
Brother, that's probably one of the most powerful questions you can ask me. In particular, after hearing Savior's Day, Savior is born for all of humanity. No one need perish. I remember when I was the assistant minister in 1987, the minister was at the Prince of Priests Church of God in Christ, Bishop Anderson, And in that, in 87, I was the assistant minister. I brought Brother Jamil on, who brought Brother Halim on, who brought the minister on. The minister said, "You're looking for Jesus. Here am I." And I jumped on the table. I like, "Ooh, he just said he was Jesus." I jumped up on the table that he called himself. Then he said, "I'm like a Jesus." And you know, again, you know, that's his humanity. You don't want to go too far, but he was creeping up on his identity, you know, at that point, that I thought anyway, from my vantage point. So that stuck with me. And then in 1996, after the Million Man March, the minister was in Los Angeles, and we were at the Nico Hotel at coffee. And I asked the minister, I said, "Dear Apostle, when are we going to be able to start teaching people who you are?" And keep in mind that we had not as a successful an event in Los Angeles that weekend. So, you know, so he said to me, he said, "Brother, are you saying that Jesus don't have no more attracting power?" Now that was confirmation for me. Then he said, "Brother," then he said to me, "Brother, remember when they started to creep up or come to the identity of Jesus would be made known, it was time for him to go away."
Yes.
And so that was the second thing. The third thing that stuck with me the most, and I've shared with a lot of my colleagues, I was with him in, I think, 2011 in Los Angeles. And I was talking to him and I asked him, I said, "Dear Apostle, why are we not more successful than we are?" And he said to me that scriptures had to be fulfilled. And I said, "Well, dear Apostle, you have taught us that we can beat prophecy." And at this point, wallahi, he said, "To the degree that you all believe I am who you say I am, is to the degree that you will be successful." That have always stuck with me. And what he said to all of us at many times, if we can't see him from scripture, then we don't see him at all. And so when he said at Savior's Day about the process from man to God and his life being that example, you know, I'm looking from 87 till the 17th of February 2019, when he let the world know that I am the Messiah. I am that one that is raised to teach, and ultimately I will be a part of the destruction of our enemy. And so those three things have been the greatest thing. If we believe he is who we say he is, then we should jump up and make a greater progress in this time. And so, yes, sir, that's my thoughts on that.
Okay, excellent. Yes, sir. Was there ever a time that you were holding posts or about to hold posts where there was a death threat, or a time that you may have had some fear that you had to overcome?
Wow. Well, we had a couple times where I remember, I think we were in Memphis. I think it was Memphis. Was that one of those hotels where the ducks come out and stuff like that? And we knew they were planning something then. And by the grace of Allah, the elevator actually stopped on a different floor and we got off there. We have been in situations. I'm laughing about something just came to my mind. I'm going to share that with you in a little bit. It wasn't never a death threat, but it was something that we thought was very serious. We were traveling the Caribbean. Rashad, that was a very funny piece. But yes, I think a couple of times we've been there where we have seen the enemies calling for Minister Farrakhan's death. You know, one of the most dangerous times for me, we were in DC and we made a wrong turn and we went down a back alley. And I thought that night, you know, we would have to die to protect the messenger of Allah. I remember it was so close, I climbed out the car window. In other words, we were so close, we were running over mattresses and stuff like that. The police let us down the wrong way. And I remember climbing out the car window to get to the messenger's door and just try to go. The dogs are barking and everything. We know that there's something is going on. The police let us and then turns off. You know, and so that was one of the most dangerous times I thought that was there. There's other times that we saw where the police on their horses and different things like that have been at this time where we know bombs have been located. And somebody was bringing to my attention that we had one person that was actually, forgot where we were, making it seem like it was a bomb, but it really wasn't. Some police officers later on got busted. But there were several threats, many of I probably didn't know about, But the thing that I saw was that I remember I think it was Memphis at the Peabody Hotel. I think we were the one in New York, of course, and the other incidents we had where we had to stand down the police, and we weren't going to back down, as far as that goes.
Yes, sir. Can you be more specific on the incident where you had to back down the police? I want to make sure that our audience maybe not be familiar with that.
I think we were in one of the instances. It was in the mid '80s, late '80s. I think we're in Rochester, someplace where the horses, they came out with their horses and they were going to try and stop us. And I mean, we just stood firm. We weren't moving. They were on horses. They figured, man, we stood so firm. The horses started backing down. The horses started backing away. It was Penn State. My wife, she said she with my ride or die girl for 30. Penn State. My memorizations, my granddaughter would say sometime come and go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Penn State, not Syracuse. But we had some issues at Syracuse too. But I think that's just one of the situations. Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent, sir. And with the traveling to the Caribbean, could you elaborate on that story as well, sir?
Well, we were in one of the islands. I don't remember exactly which it was, and we were on the minister's post. And I'm actually a student minister, but I still, wherever the minister goes, I made a commitment many years ago that I would go as many places as I can go, and Allah blessed me to be able to do that. And I'm very honored, to have the finances to be able to make that travel, to be there and to be on the road. And the minister paid me a great compliment when he came to San Diego in 2012. But we were in the Caribbean at one of the islands, and it was me and Brother Student Minister Kareem from the Inland Empire. We were on post this night, and we see something coming out the water. And, in my mind, I'm watching it, and I'm okay, this is about to get serious, so Kareem said, let's go over there and check it out. I said, for what? I said, now, I can fight a little bit, I'm not the best fighter. I'm not being a student, right? but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I was ready to take on two SEALs on their territory. If I was gonna die, it wasn't gonna be down by the water, it was gonna be dying defending the messenger's door. After I sounded the alarm and stood my ground. So I told Chris, I said, man, I'm not going down there. But it was clear to me that something came out of the water. We were right on the water. And I'm not crazy. They try to tell me, well, maybe it's a turtle. Man, I'm not stupid. I know what I'm looking at, but I'm not going to leave my post.
Yes, sir.
Because the general order tells us to what? To report all calls from posts more distant than your own. So I'm not gonna report a call from post down there dead on the beach, and then they come the back way. So I told Chris, I said, well, I need to stay here at the front. You need to go back on the back and see if we see anything. If anything come close, then we sound the alarm and be prepared to fight and die at that time. But I'm not leaving my post to go investigate nothing. That's like the archers who left the ridge and let the prophet, peace and blessing Allah be upon him, get injured. I'm not leaving the messenger's door. I'm not leaving from around. If you go kill me, you go kill me right here. But I'm going to fight before you get to me, and I'm going to fight to the death when you get to me. And let me say this, I don't give a damn how much training they got. I call on Allah, and Allah said he will back us with his angels. So Allah said, you can slay them, but I slayed them at your hand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To slay them that damn day, but I wasn't going to check it out. Josh just back into the water. And of course, the next day they were making fun of us. You know how the ET, you know how the ET can be. These boys talk about it, But I thought it was very serious. I want to tell you another time. I think we were in St. Thomas. And I remember when they had snipers on the roof. Brother Melvin and Rashad would be much better be able to talk about that. But I remember that was another very serious situation because me, Mel, and Rashad was down there in advance. Because a lot of time in the Caribbean, I would travel with them, those two great brothers, Rashad and Brother Melvin, to prepare the way for the messenger. And I remember there, I know there was a plot to try to assassinate the minister. And I think it was either Melvin or Rashad and the brother was there really foiled that because they were very steadfast with that. So there's many cases, brother, and the law have guided his messenger, and sometimes he guided us to foil because we were observant. As the minister talks about observation, concentration, and submission, when we're on security, we have to be very observant. We have to focus on the duty. We can't be distracted, and we must submit to the training that we've been given. And that's what has made us successful, I believe, over the years. And I'm grateful for the training.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Now, how was it going into LA becoming a regional captain? What was the circumstances around that, and how was it going to LA coming from Buffalo, New York? What was the climate during that time period?
Wow, that your father, Brother Abdul Sharif, and I'm sure this our current Supreme Captain, Brother Mustafa Farrakhan, and Dennis and Akil. I'd been a go-to person with them, and when our great regional captain emeritus Abdul Wali was getting up in age, and there was going to be a change, I believe they wanted to bring somebody from the outside. You had some great men in that city already. You had some great soldiers, because 2, 3, 4 of them are regional captain now. The brother who picked me up when I got to LA was Brother now regional captain of the South, Brother Oliver. Of course, Brother Halim, who is now the West Coast regional captain, he was Brother Abdul. He was Brother Wali's local captain. And, you got men like Brother Shahid and other men that were great in the command in the military there. So we have some great men, but a decision was made to bring me in. I had a reputation of a no-nonsense type of a person. I'm a straight nation man. I don't have much deviation from what Messenger of Allah teaches us. I don't have much deviation from our way. I'm far from perfect. Now, don't get me wrong. I made some mistakes. But I'm going to take the admonition. Don't worry about the mistakes that I learned from them. And I learned from them. And so today I'm striving to be a better servant. But, LA, the change was being made for whatever reason. I remember when the Supreme Captain asked me, what do I think about going out? And this was in after the earthquake the Northridge earthquake in 93, which was the end of the year. And this was shortly after Brother Khalid had gotten shot, I think at Keene College. And I was coming out to LA. So when I got out to LA, it was some controversy and things that were going on in LA at the time. And, as I was there, you had people, of course, the hypocrites are always around, and those who think they should be in leadership. But that's just a part of it, But I was told to go out, and I was given specific instruction. I didn't get involved with anybody in that city, although I had some great people to help. I'm going to tell you, one of the greatest men that I've ever met is Brother Wali. He was one of the great helpers of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, and of course, the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But to me, he was a great Muslim. And even though I replaced Wali and made some mistakes, to be honest, in how I handled him, and that's some of the mistakes that we make sometimes, how we handle those that have served. So when I went to LA, I think I could have done that better. And I remember in my little arrogant self, I closed the restaurant down there. And because there were some challenges, and so I remember I talked with the messenger of Allah. I told the brother, I had to close the restaurant. He said, well, brother, could you have given them some time probably to get it together? Well, yeah, I guess I could have done it, brother minister, but when you're young and full of yourself, you make those mistakes. But Brother Wali was such a great man. I'm honored to have met with him, served him. And I met him the first time I came to LA back in 87. And he was a great servant and helped with Minister Farrakhan then. So there was a lot of controversy going on in LA at the time. You remember, this is also the time of the East Coast, West Coast battle that's going on. We got to deal with a lot of that. We're dealing with, we saved many lives, brother. You would have been a lot more killing of East Coast and West Coast if the Nation of Islam was not involved. You know, I remember one of the Source Awards or one of those awards that they were having. I mean, we stopped a huge flare up and stopping brothers from shooting and killing each other just because of who we were, the men we represent, and the training that we had. You know, so LA was challenged going out. You know, but I'm thankful to Allah that I've given such a great and awesome opportunity to serve as a regional captain and being a part of the Honorable Minister Farrakhans personal security team in the Diamond. And I mean, we didn't play, bro. We held it down. We made some mistakes, you know, but when it came to his security and certain things, brother, we did not play with that. We meant when we say, you know, our prayer, our sacrifice, our life, and our death is all for Allah and His messenger. We meant every word of that, you know. So LA really brought out another level of soldier in me, and it showed me also some of the weakness and flaws in myself.
Yes, sir. With Brother Abdul, you said Brother Waleed, I'm familiar with his son. We've soldiered together, but I didn't know the father because he was older, so I never had a chance to speak with him. What would you suggest for future generations or other people who are coming after big shoes to fill? How should that transition? How, based off of what you experienced, what would you do different?
I think we got to respect those that have laid the foundation. You know, I think sometime I came into LA and because I was replacing him, I made some judgments probably that I shouldn't have made. I corrected some of them down the line because even though I was making those judgments, Brother Captain Waleed always supported me. I never saw him one time not. Whenever the messenger came into the city of the regional captain, you know, Brother Waleed would either cook for him, we'd be at his home and just different things. He was a very good man. We have to learn to respect service. And I'm going to say that's what I love about our current Supreme Captain. I had a conversation with him the other day. And one of the things that just touched my heart, I didn't say it, could have brought tears to my eyes when he talked about we have to find a way to develop housing and ways to take care of those men that have served in our nation for a long time. And for whatever reason, they didn't have a 401k. For whatever reason, you know, they sacrificed so much and didn't make the correct planning for whatever reason. I'm not going to judge, but at the end of the day, it don't matter. We need to have something for our veterans, for our pioneers. You know, and when the Supreme Mustafa said that to me, Saturday, whatever day we spoke, yesterday, it touched my heart dearly because those are the things that we have to do. Waleed was a man like that. Wazir is a man like that. And we have men like that in our midst today, Brother Wahid. And, you know, I mean, it goes on, Brother Rahman, Brother BR. I mean, those are just some, and there's many others that we don't know, you know, that's throughout our nation. And we have to do that. So I would say we have to respect those that have served. I know we say it's our time, but I tell young people in my city, I'm just about 60, but I ain't done yet.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but we have to learn how do we pass the torch correctly. Minister Farrakhans have shown us exactly how to do it. We have to respect the elders. We have to respect the young. That means we have to respect each other and understanding that we must be unified in what we do. I would say we have to respect those that have paved the way. I was so honored when I saw the respect that the brothers gave to Brother Sharif, you know, at the FOI class. See, that could only be done because our current Supreme Captain is one that gives that same level of respect and support. So you heard the regional captains and others that gave those type of accolades and recognition, you know, to Brother Sharif. We have to respect those that have laid our way, and we have to prepare the way for those to come. It's a relay, and you know, it's a 4x4 relay. So we got to make sure we pass the baton correctly from generation to generation, because a bad handoff can cost you the race.
Yes, sir.
So we got to make sure we are better at the handoff. That's what I would have been better at the handoff with Waleed.
Excellent. And I want to continue to thank you all for tuning in and for asking your questions. And I see them, and I received the text as well to people who are texting me the questions. for Brother Minister Hugh as well. When you said there were some things as far as arrogance that you went into LA with, how did you? What are some advice that you would give to help people not be so arrogant in the future? How is there a lesson that you learned, or you just over time? What helped you to not to learn that lesson?
I think one of the big things I remember, Brother Waleed. That was very big to me because just of who he was to me. Even years after that, when I was in San Diego, it's Brother Waleed who came to San Diego when I was opening a restaurant. And he came to San Diego. He showed me how to bake the pie. He showed me how to do the thing. He was just a great servant. And I think sometimes we don't acknowledge that because we're trying to make a name for ourselves.
Yes, sir.
We're trying to be recognized. We're trying to be the one. I'm going to do this, And you got to understand now, Brother Joshua, back then the spirit of competition was fierce. We had very competitive. We had some very competitive. All the F numbers were competitive. We had some competitive people, to want to be the best and to give the greatest service to our nation. So we're very competitive, and in doing that, sometimes we could really not take the type of care that we should take in doing the things that we should do. I think one of the things that I've learned that I would have done better, I was a very kind of I would say strict, but sometimes I was more to the letter of the law than the spirit of the law. I learned while I was there, I learned how to be better with the spirit of the law. To learn our messenger's way, to learn the Honorable Minister Farrakhans' way is very, very important because he's a perfect example of how we can conduct ourselves and be very successful. And he showed the level of humility. And he said he had to grow into that as well. So I think how I handle some people, I think how I dealt with certain things, I could have done better. But I think Brother Waleed is the best example, and that I thought I could have done a lot better with, and I could have utilized people better. But LA was also a very competitive place, and me coming from the outside, I was looked at as an outsider, right? So I had to come in. Oh, I'm an outsider. Okay, I'm gonna show y'all I'm the outsider, but damn it, I'm the one that's in charge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With that attitude, I'm the one that's in charge. Yeah, I'm from the out, but this is who it is. And so I think I could have done a little bit better in I could have done better in utilizing and utilizing more of the strength and being a better coach. I say this, I give an example. The greatest team in basketball that could have been assembled was the Oklahoma, whatever they named, Thunders.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Durant, Russell Westbrook.
Yes, sir.
James Harden.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You had what's the other boy name? You number 9, Ibaka, and you had others. What they lacked was not skill and talent. What they lacked was correct coaching. And they didn't have the coach that could bring out and show them how to play together. Minister Farrakhan have been able to do that with us. We have not been as successful in learning how to use the parts in an all-star team because the Nation of Islam is an all-star team. And each one of us in our own area just got to be better coaches. That means we got to utilize people in a much better way. And so we have to follow the head coach. And the more we emulate him, the better it would be. And I'm not just saying it to say, that's just very real. When I follow Minister Farrakhan's example, as I do and try to do my best in this city, it reaps nothing but benefits.
Praise the Lord.
Really loud.
Man, I was at I actually had the honor of doing security with you at an award show as well once, and I saw how you handled yourself and represented the FOI well and worked with celebrities. Are there any celebrities that showed you respect and showed the minister respect that you would like to share with us?
I had to learn how to respect celebrities. I'm gonna be quite honest. I had to learn, right? Because I was the type of dude was, I'm like, man, I'll give a damn about these people. I did my job. and I'm going, I'm not moved. The only celebrity I got is Farrakhans.
Yes, sir.
So say so JC, Beyonce, Prince, Shaq, any of them, it doesn't really matter to me. But I had to remember something. You know, that the minister was a master fisherman. See, we don't fish in the same place, you know, and so I don't have no special of celebrity. I know I've saved some of their lives by Allah's grace. You know, I've seen some of the fashion designers, I'm just gonna say it like that, that was in trouble, and we had to help them. I've seen some entertainers, some of whom became movie stars and others that was in trouble. We had to help them. And in many times, if it was not for us, things could have turned out different for them. I'm not going to say their name, but I know there's 2 or 3 that I personally, by the grace of Allah, helped to save their lives because I knew men wanted to kill them. And people thought I was involved in some crap that I just found out recently at Savior's Day. I'm like, y'all thought that's how I was. But you'd be surprised what the perception is of people because of what they see. They expect or think that everything is the same way. I really don't have no special account with no celebrity, to be quite honest. I did my job with them. I didn't need nothing from them. I didn't want nothing from them. They just like, you know, to me, the only difference between the one that got $100 million and one that got $10 is one got $100 million, one got $10. But they both need to know who God is. We oftentimes give more attention to the one that have $100 million, and the poor $10 man, we don't pay him no attention. You know, but Allah reminded us that in the Quran, in the Hadith, when he frowned, where the blind man was tapping his way up to talk with the Prophet, and the Prophet didn't spend, according to the way they do it, didn't spend much time with the blind man, you know, and a surah was revealed, he frowned, you know. So we have to pay attention, and that's what makes Jesus the Messiah so good, you know, because he said, is it not the sick that needs a doctor? And so I really don't, Josh, and I've been a lot of their homes and stuff like that. I tell people I serve 2 men. I only work for 2 men in my life, thank Allah. I work for the man that's behind me in that picture, Minister Farrakhans, and I work for myself. That don't mean I can't serve everybody. But I'm not going to go to a 9 to 5. Messenger Muhammad said, do something for self. When I left law school, I started a construction company. I taught school. Every step of the way, I thank Allah that I've been free to be able to move about wherever the messenger have gone. And as I get close to 60 now, I see a need even more for us to be financially independent. But the minister said that starts with our righteousness and ends with our righteousness. You know, so I really don't have, I went all the way around the bush, Josh, to say, I really don't have no special story.
Yes, sir. Excellent. Now, okay, there's 2 points that I wanted to make sure I followed up with. Dr. Khalid, during that time period, what was that? How was your interaction with Dr. Khalid as you as a captain?
Brother, I thought I gave Brother Khalid some of the best advice that I could have given to him. I had a meeting with him, and a lot of people probably don't know that at Anfine's Chilton, Shahid, I think, was at the meeting, because Khalid was staying with some of the brothers, and Shahid was very instrumental in looking out for him after he got shot. But I met with him while he was dealing with this dude by the name of Steve Coakley in the Boulay. And I said to Brother Khalid, I said, my dear brother, I said, why don't you write the minister and ask him for $25,000 to $50,000, tell him you need to really take a break. I was trying to get him to just step back and reflect. I said, if you don't have the money, just step back. Because the more people was whispering it into his ear, the more things were going and the more dissatisfied he was getting. If he didn't pull back, I understood it probably would not end well. And so I met with him. I said, brother, why don't you reach out to the minister? I said, I know he would help you, Brother Khalid, if you reach out and ask for help at this time. Of course he didn't. And that was in maybe 94, mid 94, late 94. No, I want to say early 95, probably. Might have been early 95. I don't remember exactly, but he was already up and moving about and everything. When I'm going to say it's going to be late 94, early 95. And that's when they were going around and Steve Cole was talking about the Boulay You know, it's just disappointment is a hell of a thing, brother. You know, that's why the minister's been such a great example, because he showed us how he handled disappointment, you know, and stuff, and Allah had blessed him, you know. So brother was not able to overcome the level of disappointment for whatever reason got to him. But that's the advice I gave to him personally. This is one-on-one conversation. And I've had a few run-ins with Khalid, even when I was back as captain in Buffalo, and he came to Buffalo and stuff like that, you know. So we had a relationship. So I thought I could speak to him as a brother and say, listen, man, you know, talk to your messenger. You say you're a spiritual son. Because I know he would help you if you just said, I need to get away. I need to clear my head. And that's what I was trying to get when I was in LA in the latter part of 94, early 95 with Brother Khalid.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And the Malcolm X movie, during that climate, how were you able to you know, how were you able to survive when it was very thick out there with the propaganda and things of that nature?
He followed the minister's instructions, and it made it very simple. The minister was a wise commander. Not was, is.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about back then, but is a wise commander. He pulled us off the street, told us not to play, not to say anything, not to get involved in the diatribe, in the conversation going back and forth, because they were trying to use our dead brother against a living icon and representative of God. And so the minister peeped that card real quick and taught us very well. So we were able to make it, those that listened, and there was some that spoke out, very few, but it happened. Some people got busted behind that, you know. You know, but yeah, that's how we made it. We followed the minister's instructions, and we got off the street. We did what we were supposed to do, and you know, we were able to get through. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, they try to move on to something else, because they couldn't make the movie X make the people rise up against the Nation of Islam, but particularly the Honorable Minister Farrakhans and the Nation of Islam.
Praise be to Allah. How was it transitioning from being captain, a regional captain, F team? You're traveling, and then you go into a more spiritual realm as far as representing verbally as a minister. How was that transition for you?
I think I was a better teacher when I was a captain than I am as a minister. I tell people sometimes. I was always very studious. You know, I came out of, I got to give credit to Abdul Halim, with Brother Donald then, but Abdul Halim Muhammad, who was the minister in Buffalo from 1985 until like 2009, maybe, and 10, for 20 something years. He was my brother and my friend, is my brother and friend. We went to college together back in the 80s. I met him in 81. We're at the university. We lived together in 84. We graduated from college in 85. We lived together again in 85 when we came home from college, before I got married in 86. And I have to thank him because he was a very studious individual. As a matter of fact, I'm not bragging here, but Buffalo did have the highest cumulative score on the first exam that the Nation of Islam ever took. Our laborers scored the highest on the exam that we took in 92, that was reported out in 93 when we went to Savior's Day. So we had a very studious, so we were into the study guide. We're into Brother Jabril's study guide. He broke down the Quran. We looked up words. And so we were very studious. And so that helped me because a spiritual person, you need a spiritual person as a lieutenant. Well, all the believers have to be spiritual. So when you become an official, we're expecting that your level of spirituality and study, you know, should be that where you're going to impart that knowledge, that not what I think, but what the messenger of Allah said, what the Quran said, what the study guides say, what Minister Farrakhans said, what Fall of America say, message to the black man. That's what we should be imparting to the brothers. Not, you know, we can get pretty hard sometimes, you know, hardcore. So I think the spiritual side was already there for me. You know, the natural transition. And I actually requested the minister to leave LA and to be a minister in the city somewhere, you know. You know, Back in those days, there's a lot of competition between ministers and captains who was the head authority. We know it's the minister's head authority, but sometimes, that's another part of our arrogance. We roll with the minister in certain things. So we come back, we didn't do it. And so the difficulty that we had, I know Brother Tony valued to the minister. And at that time, we had not gotten along as best as we could. But today, he and I are like this, because we both realized what we could have done better. But that's the beauty about growing in Islam. And he's become a great helper to the minister. And I'm striving the same to be a great helper to him in the arena that I'm working in. So I asked and wrote the minister and asked him what year was that? That would have been 98, 97. If I could go ahead, and be that. And I wrote to your dad, Brother Sharif. Brother Sharif was so much for me. Matter of fact, the first trip I made to Africa, he made it possible. It was 94, and I'm going to get back to that part. But since this came to my mind, I remember we were going to Africa in 94. And the list was being made. And I know Brother She was trying to get me on the list. He said, I don't know, because when they said this amount, blah, 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 right? At least that the minister will go pay for. I could go on my own if I could pay my own dime, right?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
And so Brother She said, I'm going to try and get you on. But it also teaches us that you must always be prepared at all times, because he got it done for us, for me in particular. I'll tell him about this today. But if I had not went and got my shot, if I had not went and got my passport, we must stay prepared at all times. So when we're not prepared, we're caught off guard. There's no such thing as catching a FOI off guard. Fast moving, quick thinking, right down to the modern time. See, we got to always be prepared for what's coming. So I prepared every way. So when he called me and we had a week or two, I already had the shot. I had everything. I'm good. He said, brother, you're on the list. I said, alhamdulillah. So that was my first trip to Africa. But he made possible was that, so the question you asked, what was the question you asked again, Josh? I went off on that.
Is it no, sir? The transition from being a captain into the ministry.
Yes, I also wrote Sharif on that as well, right? That's what I was doing.
Yes,
I actually
yes,
wrote him and told him, I would like to be a helper of the minister in the ministry class. That's what I really was gravitating towards. And I know at the time I didn't think that I would be able to be the best help to Minister Tony. A part of it because of my arrogance and the growing that I had to do, and I did not want to be at odds with a regional minister, because the value of a regional minister to me now, to my regional minister get upset with me, was much more than what a captain was, because the minister had been the face of the city, been the word and everything else, and I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize that. So I asked to move on to be a minister. And then I actually sat with Minister Tony for about 3 or 4 hours one day, he and I in the car, and then who he would want to be his captain, as far as that is. And of course, everything went in. Eventually, in October, I think it was, when the minister was going on the first friendship tour, we were in Washington, D.C., and then that's where a few of the regional captains was changed. I was changed. I think Akil was also changed, and Najim or Dion Najim was put in at that time. Halim became captain in LA, and so, and that was, and then I became the student minister in San Diego. The minister told me, go to San Diego, don't say you're the minister, go down and teach and be there. When you come back, if after 30 days that's what you want to do, let me know. And I did, and he appointed me the minister in San Diego.
Praise be to Allah. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, sir.
Transition was natural for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. What advice would you give to future fathers?
Brother, that one of the most important things as a father is to be a provider. I tell people my definition of laziness that I teach the men that I try to work with. Lazy don't mean you won't get up and work. Lazy to me is not doing enough to get yourself out of the condition that you're in. So if a fruit is the best and he's constantly training to meet the condition, to meet and overcome all obstacles on his path, if his sole purpose is to deliver the 17 meal more dead, then the fruit always has to be on point. If we're the best, we're going to overcome all obstacles in our path. So in order to do that, we have to be good providers and maintainers in our home. And that starts with being a good Muslim. That's a good father start with a man that obeys God. A good father starts with a man that submits and aids Allah's messenger and apostle. It don't mean you ain't gonna have disagreement husband and wife, but a man should never not take care of his children, and a man should never strive to provide for his wife. I say this, and I learned this later on in life, and my wife is listening, so I'm gonna say that she probably gonna come in and pass me a note. I don't know. I don't know. I learned, and she may not think it, but I learned to try to please her. And most of the things that men do that women don't understand is we really try to serve them. And there's nothing that disappoints a man more than when he can't provide for the one that he loves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At the root of some of the arguments. It ain't the man ain't upset. The man is upset with himself.
Yes, sir.
Argues with the woman. So I tell the men, just be like the minister. Don't be like Mike or whoever, be like Farrakhans. And what he does, he knows how to continuously work and have trust in God. So as a young father, I would say, don't be lazy. Lazy don't mean that you're not willing to work. But if you're not doing what's necessary to overcome whatever obstacle you're faced with, then you're lazy, because we meet and overcome all obstacles. And I say that's what we got to do. We have to meet and overcome the obstacles that we face. And remember, we live in a wicked world that's poisoning us. And that's why I think Brother Imam Sultan said yesterday, I say to young men, don't look outside. And not only young men, all of us, to be quite honest, Brother Joshua, don't look outside, but look inside. And Imam Sultan said this when I listened to, we played the Juma service from Chicago on Friday. He said, we must be willing to declare jihad on the low desires and the evil of self, as much as we're willing to declare jihad on an enemy on the outside or some foe that's on the outside. And when we strive to be the best that we can be, and that's the key, we got to be able to be an honest observer of ourselves and lift the standard that's given to us from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhans. And we can be honest with that. Then when we fall short, we don't beat ourselves up. We just get up and go to work. And our women will love us for that, because the woman in MGT, brother, when she have a man that's doing right by her, she go try and do everything she can to aid and support that man. And we've been to have women like that in our lives.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad you helped me with my segue. What advice would you give to future husbands?
Make sure you have a job, a car, a place to live, some money in the bank.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think, the minister in study guide number 4, he said, I say that Allah, God, have to be our primary inclination. See, when a man gets so caught up into a woman, or a woman gets so caught up into a man, when that man disappoints them, they fall apart. See, but if we put our trust and confidence in Allah, then what happened, we're able to navigate through the difficulties when they come up, because we know that Allah is not going to let us down.
Yes,
so
sir.
the minister in study guide number 4 said Allah has to be the primary inclination, and then marriage will be the secondary inclination. And then he says this in the study guide, and I say this to us as young potential fathers and those that are fathers or husbands. He said that if you run out on God, you will run out on marriage. So most men that you see running out on marriage, they already left God. Because most men can't show you something concrete why they're not in the marriage, other than the shaitan of self whispering to us our unwillingness to control our own appetites. At the end of the day, marriages break down oftentimes, and divorce come about because we ran out on God. So marriage become easy to run out and to move on to something else. And so my advice is to make God our primary inclination. You know, as Minister Farrakhan teaches us in the study guide, as he said, son, that we got everything that we need. You know, the biggest problem that we have, to me, and I'm learning this as a man, like I said, now I'm 57 going on 58. You know, I'm a couple of years shy of 60, you know, is that we just got to learn how to submit. And that's what Minister Farrakhan took the first 40 minutes or so of Savior's Day talking about and showing us a process that ultimately he submitted. And then he showed us with the letter, to write the letter, it was observation, concentration, and submission. Without submission, we will not be successful, no matter how good we are observing and concentrating.
Absolutely. Okay. Is any of that, I want to make sure I get with this, and thank you, sir, Brother Minister. Is any, are looks involved in any of this choice choosing for the wives?
Say it again now.
Are looks involved in, the looks matter in any of this choosing of the wife?
Sir. Yeah. I be lying if I think looks didn't matter. No, brother, no, the hell no. Looks always matter. But a physical appearance is only a small part of looks.
Yes, sir.
You know, we used to back and say, man, we said, man, why is there a fine one with that ugly man? that's what we say sometimes. See, but the outer appearance. See, that's why when a woman falls in love with a man and a man falls in love with a woman, the physical appearance is not the most important thing. But it has something to do with it, because you're naturally attracted to what you see first. You know, and that's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us and taught our women to cover themselves. See, because we didn't want, as the minister said, a man to get, you know, attracted to the woman's behind. He wants her to be attracted to the woman's mind.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
The criticalness of that is that the answer, looks do matter, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, I think I had a very beautiful wife. You know, I mean, you find that they get. You know,
yes,
so I, you know, so if my problem, you know, so yeah, looks matter. All of
yes,
that, and don't no man want a woman that let herself go. You know, so so looks have something to do with Josh. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. What would you tell the younger you, your younger self, if you could tell yourself one thing that you are, all the experiences that you've had, what would you tell the younger you?
What would I tell the younger me? Wow. I have to send my wife to the other room and tell her she can't look in the face, but can't go look back. I would say be patient and trust more in Allah. Be patient, trust more in Allah.
Excellent. And what do you, when the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan leaves, what do you want your functions to be? Like, what do you want to do to keep strong? Like, what do you want to do?
What I am a servant. You know, the Messenger of Allah said that 5 mosques, maybe 7 must stay open. And he talked about the regional mosque, and I think he added Detroit and maybe Miami, which was not in the original 5 that had to stay open. Brother Student Minister Carlos asked the minister, what is it and how can we prevent other mosques from closing? He said that part will be on us. Now, this is one of the reasons why mosques are going to close. One of the number one reasons, you know, why mosques are going to close? We don't own the building. So anybody can evict us, and then you go back into your house, whatever. So we have to get more involved in economic development to be able to be successful to stop mosques from closing. What I want to do, brother, I want to serve. I want to be here, and I want to demonstrate and continue and grow from where I am today while the messenger is present. Because what we're doing today, if we're here on his return, is probably what we will be doing. Now, I know some of us is banking that after, you know, Jesus ascended, the disciples did greater work. And I'm hoping that that will be the case, and that is the case. But a whole bunch of them also ran off too. A whole bunch of them also left. You know, so I would love to be found serving and being obedient to the structure and what he leaves in place. The minister has been talking to us about what he wants and how he wants the nation to be ran while he's gone. And so if we are to be successful, we're going to be obedient to that which he leaves. And that will ensure. And we have to remember something, Brother Joshua. You know, sometimes we forget that Allah is in charge. They're the hadith. And how much time do we have left, Josh? I'm not.
Oh no, I'm not. It's no pressure, no time pressure, no time pressure.
There's an hadith that the students of one of the prophet or some wise guy, and they were saying how your student are not obedient. They said he don't listen to you, and so he said, okay, I'm gonna test him. So he gave each one of his students a chicken, and I don't know if it's hadith or somebody told it to me. I might have heard it at Juma here that I went to. And the man told the student that, you know, I want you to go, and whenever nobody is not looking, I want you to kill the chicken. So of course everybody went in the closet, locked the door, went underneath the bed, you know, pulled the covers down and looked, and everybody killed their chicken. And here come this other student, his chicken still cock-a-doodle doing, right? And it's just, that's exactly what we're talking about. He didn't kill the chicken. See, he can't tell me. He couldn't find it. So he said, well, let's ask him. Joshua, why didn't you kill the chicken? He said, every place I went, I looked just when I thought nobody wasn't looking. Allah was looking. So he said, I couldn't kill the chicken because Allah was always looking. See, when we come to understand that Allah is always present, he or his angels, then we understand not only exterior are we watched by God. Why do we think that if Allah says in the Holy Quran that Satan and his host watches us from a point where we perceive not? Why do we not think when Allah say in the Holy Quran, see he not that it is Allah and his angel who bestow favors on the believers? Why do we not think that God, Allah, is watching us to guide us into the path? So when the minister leave, don't we think Allah got his nation?
Yes.
Don't we think Allah know and his Christ know what's going on? If we believe that they're alive and on the wheel, and I believe that. Only a fool will rise up against what the messenger of God would lead. And I pray Allah that I be one of those that will stand with our nation against anyone that would rise when the messenger of Allah leaves to be healed. We're looking for him to come back fully healed.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Excellent. One last question, Brother Minister, and thank you all for watching, and thank you all for your comments. What do you want your legacy to be, and how do you want to be remembered by the younger generation and by other believers and people in general?
You know, I really don't think about a legacy, Brother Joshua, to be quite honest. You know, I love to serve. You know, I'm the type of dude that, you know, I go wash the dishes. I'm the type of person that will go and I'm gonna bring you your food. I'm gonna cook for you. I'm gonna take you home. And I'm leaving the mosque today, and I'm pulling out one of my brothers that helped me on my security team. I know he was running. It was at the gate. I'm leaving. And I said, man, how you getting home? He thought I did still need a ride because I know his car was broke. I'm gonna look to serve you. I'm not looking to be served. I'm not looking at a legacy. It's like the minister said, God will write that. If there is to be a legacy, somebody will tell it. It won't be me. I will do everything I can to make Islam what it's supposed to be wherever I'm at. And the messenger of Allah said that to me one day when I was going through some serious struggles, and the enemy, the ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center was coming after my companies and coming after us in many ways. And the messenger said, brother, you're like the seed of Islam. When the prophet left and the seat of Islam moved to Damascus, Syria, he said, every place where the word fell, it grew. He said, brother, no matter, because I was concerned they go try and deport me, right? He said, brother, the biggest mistake that they made. He said, because wherever you go, Allah will bless you to be successful. I wrote those notes down from when he said that to me about 4 years ago. Why? Because I always wanted just to serve. That's what he have done. I ain't worried about legacy. The more I do, the more somebody else will be able to tell. And if nobody tell, I just say, oh Lord, just bring me to the wheel. I work, Brother Joshua. Now people think I'm crazy. I work that if I drop dead tomorrow, Allah would see fit to get to me within those 48 hours to bring me back and bring me to his self.
Yes, sir.
See, I work not to be glorified by man, but I work to be glorified by my Father who art in heaven.
Praise
and I work to help his Messiah. So I don't worry about no legacy. I'm going to build all I can. And we're building some great things here in San Diego by the grace of Allah. That's the legacy, but I ain't worried about that. If it helps to believe it, that's all I'm concerned about.
Praise be to Allah. And I want to thank everyone for watching, and we're going to make sure you all can look at this on YouTube. If you search Joshua Muhammad off the record, it'll come right up. And I want to thank you, Brother Minister, for your,
Brother
on
Joshua,
behalf of, sir.
Thank me. Let me thank you first and foremost. You'll close us out. Let me thank you. I've watched the one that you with your dad. I watched some with Brother Aaron. I watched Akil. I thought he did a great job. I thought I saw a little bit of Brother Dennis. I hadn't realized that you were doing it every week. I have a radio show usually at this time as well at 3 o'clock. But the realization, I thank you for doing it. I thank you for giving me the opportunity and to be able to tell a part of my story. What inspired you? Since you said we're on the, if I could get, what inspired you? What inspired? Because you remember now, I watched you grow from a little baby when we in Jamaica at the villa back in the 90s, you know, with the whole family. Your family is very dear to me. And your father has been a great inspiration and one of those men that I was grateful to have served with. And I'm grateful to have been, you know, a helper of his when he was a supreme captain, and my brother and my friend to this very day. So, you know, as his son and my little nephew, what inspired you to want to share this? Because this is beautiful for our nation. What inspired you to want to do this?
Yes, sir. Well, praise be to Allah. What happened is I get inspired. I'm a history major in college. So the more I study, yes, sir. So the more I study history of different governments and different militaries and different you know, cultures, I said I don't see enough of our history being told from a firsthand standpoint, so people can be like, oh, this is what he said, this is what he said, this is what he said. And when I thought about the pictures that I was looking at in my father's house and my mom, seeing my mom, just seeing so much, and I'm like, it's not real enough until I see it verbalized. So it's one thing to look at pictures and say, this was this person, this was that person. It's another thing to have a person testify and say, I was here, this was that. And on a deeper, more spiritual level, if you will, I think that the people, the Most High Farrakhans say, who do they say I am? And I think it's important for us to see why he's here. So I want to get people, I always want to tell people to say, this is who this man is because I saw him do this or I heard him say. So this is my, you know, way of trying to, you know, spread the gospel, if you will.
No, it's very beautiful. Maybe we get this written too. No, thank you so much. And I'm very inspired. And this is very inspiring. I thank you for the service that you're giving to our nation in this way. So at any time, you know, you can call on me. Please give your mom, your sisters, and your brother and your dad, give the entire family the greeting. And I just want to thank everybody that tuned in. May Allah bless us to hold fast and steadfast and follow the messenger footprint that we have in our midst. Thank you so much, Brother Joshua. I appreciate you.
Thank you, family. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank your family. Thank everyone. And your family has always been dear to my family, and you've always looked out for my father and looked out for us. So we appreciate that. And tell Brother Charles we love him. You know, hold it down, Sister Sybil, your whole family. So love you, Brother Minister, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Praise be.